Welcome to Mornings on Main Street. I'm your host, Stephanie Miller. Nearly 200,000 students in Tennessee are chronically absent from school. Communities and Schools of Tennessee is in 15 counties now, working with more than 28,000 students and their families to help ensure that those students have what they need to show up and to succeed in the classroom. In a few short minutes, we will hear from the CEO of Communities and Schools, Meredith Benton, someone that we connected with last year. We are following up with her following their All In for Kids fundraising breakfast. This happens for them annually, but it gives them the opportunity to share how the lives of students are being positively impacted by the organization. But first this morning, let's get a check of the weather.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather on Main Street.
Well, good Wednesday morning. Taylor Plott here with a quick update on your forecast. Starting off for Wednesday morning, a lot of cloud cover around, maybe a sprinkle or two. Once we go through the day, we should start to gradually decrease that cloud cover. Dry conditions continue with a breezy northerly wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting anywhere from 15 to maybe 20 during the day. Going into your evening hours, temperatures dropping quickly from the 70s down into the 60s and even some 50s. And look at this, by the time we wake up Thursday morning, there could be some 40s around the Tennessee area with mostly sunny skies. Here is your 7-day forecast. We continue the dry weather over the next several days. Temperatures will be gradually increasing once again, getting up into the upper 70s and lower 80s by the time we get into the weekend and early next week.
If you want the latest in weather conditions, be sure to tune in to our Busy Bee Plumbing weather report each weekday on Mornings on Main Street. Brought to you, of course, by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning. We will keep you updated on the latest conditions outside, like severe weather, heat, snow, rain, and even hail.
Welcome back to Mornings on Main Street. We're sitting down with the CEO, Meredith Benton of Communities and Schools. First off, great to see you again.
Great to see you too, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate our time together.
I love our time together. You know, it's been a year since we've actually sat down to talk. I've seen you at a couple of different events, but this is the first time we've been able to sit down. And you all recently, you're coming off of your breakfast that you had, a community breakfast. How did that go? Was that a success?
It was amazing. We did our All In for Kids breakfast. We had over 200 attendees there. We raised about $85,000. So that's double what we've done in years past, and just so excited for all of that funding to be able to go back into the communities, students, and families that we serve.
How many families and students are you serving now?
Yeah, so we are on target to serve 30,000 students this year. Okay. So we've been able to expand this last year. We're now in 5 schools in Hamilton County, partnering with Chattanooga, which is absolutely wonderful. We were able to add an additional school in Nashville at Waverly Belmont. We'll be expanding in the next couple of weeks into 3 schools into Marshall County, and then we were able to add another school in Bedford County this year. So 64 schools when all is said and done across the state.
That is wonderful. You know, I was reading on through our emails, and, you know, knowing that you all heard a number of inspiring stories at the breakfast. Does that like ignite the fire here at Communities and Schools, or does that, you know, for sharing with such the large crowd, I'm going to ask you how many people turned out for the breakfast, but does that push them maybe to help a little bit more?
It does. You know, we constantly find people who love the data, and of course we have great data to share with them. But when we can get people in the schools and see the work, or when they can hear the impact that we're having on students and families' lives, that truly does make a difference for so many people. And it's the why behind the work that we do every single day. And so we also find it inspiring for our staff to hear these things, especially those of us who may be a step away from the actual work happening in the schools. Hearing the impact we're having on a day-to-day basis in the lives of students and families really is what drives us. It drives our supporters for the work that they do.
Is there a story that sticks out that you wouldn't mind sharing with us here that the crowd heard at the breakfast?
Yeah, definitely. So we had a young lady last year who was starting her senior year at her high school in rural Tennessee. She had never completed a school year since the 4th grade, going into her senior year. So she had always, her behavior had always sent her to the alternative school. And so she had never completed a school year. She also started the year grieving the loss of her father. And so really really struggled at the start of her senior year. Our program manager was able to connect with her, get her on our case management, and within a few weeks we saw things really turn around. We saw her attendance dramatically improve. The school voted her onto the homecoming court. She became the president of a club. She was named most improved by the end of the year for her class. And then she took a D average to straight A's her senior year and was able to graduate and is enrolled in a medical assistance program, eyeing a 4-year degree.
That right there speaks volumes of the impact of communities and schools.
Yes, 100%. And so really just having a trusted, caring adult who can walk alongside our students and their families to help them navigate very difficult times. So our staff member was able to provide her grief counseling, daily check-ins, help her, like, what were her goals? How do we help you achieve your goals? And just that daily approach, that daily check-in was all this student needed to do what she needed to do. Our students are incredibly resilient. They just need a little bit extra support in order to get where they need to go.
I love hearing that. Meredith, how can we continue to help communities and schools on the missions in the schools that you're in?
Oh my gosh, there are several ways that we would love to have people support. One is attend a site visit. So if you go to the events page on our website, we host site visits all across the state on a regular basis throughout the school year. They're 1 hour. You get to go in and see the mission in action. You get to talk to students. You get to talk to families. You get to talk to school administrators. And it's just such a wonderful way to see how this is actually working in schools. The next is we have plenty of volunteer opportunities, or there's ways for your business to get involved. We always need help with food kits, hygiene kits, reading to students, mentorship. And so each of our schools, depending on the needs of the school, have different ways that folks can get involved. And finally is we always need financial support. And so a donation. We have a way for you to set up a monthly donation through our website, or you can make a one-time donation. We know that to case manage a student, it costs us $400 a year for each case managed student. And so for $34 a month, people can set that up and be able to support a student for the year.
Before I leave you, how has this impacted you in this past year?
Oh my gosh. So, I was a person that had very engaged, wonderful parents who, my dad had gotten a PhD. He knew how to navigate education. He knew he was a public school teacher. He knew how to help me and support me through all this. And it wasn't until my husband, who was also a public school teacher, passed away very suddenly, leaving me a widow with a 10-month-old baby, that I was living through a trauma that I needed a community of support around me. It was very hard for me to every day know what was the best decision for my family that day, what was best for us. And I really had to rely on a community of people. And so every day I think of the students and families that we work with. They're in situations that they truly had no control over, especially our students. They're kids. They have no control over the situations that they are. And so for me, it's just been a very personal opportunity to give back and to support students and families who are going through something that they have no control over. And we can help buffer that and help them get on the path to success.
Do you plan to expand more?
We'll see. We're always talking to different school districts, and if we can always get the funding figured out, we want to serve as many students as we possibly can, because we know that this program is effective. We know that it works, and we want as many students and families to have access to it.
Meredith, thank you for all of that information.
Of course. Thanks, Stephanie.
You're very welcome. Stick with us. We have a little more to come after this.
Deep in a forest at Nashville Zoo, new creatures here for you to view. Phantoms graced in black and white swing high in trees of dappled light. In rocky crags, tall and steep, small antelopes with nimble feet. A wise old man with beard of white, a sentry perched on stony height. Amidst it all, a hunter lies, with coat of gold and steely eyes. A new adventure just for you. Leopard Forest at Nashville Zoo. Open now.
We would also like to note that during the breakfast, both the Creative Artist Agency and the Scarlett Family Foundation were recognized for their longstanding support of communities in schools of Tennessee. This annual breakfast this year raised $85,000 to help the organization out. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll see you back here later on.